Hello, Nikolay. Welcome to the Builders podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here. How are you today?
Hi, Michelle. It's pleasure is mine, really. I'm very good, very good. Very much looking forward to sharing a couple of pieces of our journey with Uzum in Uzbekistan.
Nice, amazing. Do you want to give us a little bit of introduction of yourself, of course, your background, where are you coming from, and most importantly, of course, about Uzum?
Look, absolutely. First of all, I'm originally from Moscow, Russia. Then spent some time in investment banking and management consulting, both in London and across EMEA region.
Mhm.
And almost 4 years ago realized that first of all the entrepreneurial aspect of me simply took over, and then I realized that IT and digital has a lot of potential going forward. And finally, the last bit, um, Uzbekistan presents an unparalleled opportunity. So
Mm.
combining all these factors and the fact that I met my co-founder Djasur Djumaev um, in 2021, just all of that organically led to us starting this whole thing with the Uzum, which is a fintech-enabled e-commerce. That's a product company from again the product perspective. We are building an e-commerce and fintech as an ecosystem in Uzbekistan. Um, in a nutshell, this is where we are. We been doing it for almost 4 years now, and in 2024, to cut a long story short, became the first technological unicorn from the country, from Uzbekistan,
Nice.
and added additional investors. I think we'll talk about that as
Mhm.
we move forward. But
Yeah,
yeah, that
yeah.
would be a really high level overview of myself and Uzum.
Yeah. First of all, congrats for the unicorn status. Is not something that everyone can say about the startup. So congrats again. I wanted to understand a little bit better. So you're coming from a financial background. You're doing investment banking and everything. How do you actually came out with the concept of a fintech on top of an e-commerce? So how do you came out with the idea, and how do you actually merge the two sides of this kind of idea together?
Look, from the personal perspective, I maybe was not the best, I don't know, investment banker because I was always trying to see the big picture and to see the trend. And I was always very curious about how things are and how can you assemble it into certain components and then reassemble it again into something different. So I was seeing the pattern across a number of emerging markets and realized that Uzbekistan, thanks to the current president who came to power in 2017, brought about all the reforms and basically opened up the country to the international investor community and all that. And basically created a wave of change, and this allowed us to build a company in the businesses and sectors we operate in, and to use this first mover advantage and all that to capitalize on it. So basically, I was always looking to do something and realized that this is the right moment. The time is right. We have all the necessary ingredients. We have the sort of the strategy. I still actually remember the first strategy I outlined on the whiteboard when we were just sitting with three of us, just through myself and Roman. And what's unusual about it is that we managed to execute it over 3 years. All of that components became a reality. This is from at least my experience what's unusual about
Yeah.
strategizing. Usually you do so many pivots and changes, but
Yeah.
this one seems like maybe it was a bit too high level, but it was good enough to become a reality.
Yeah, yeah. Usually you do those kind of things and you always, shot for the moon. So it's always a little bit too ambitious and you never reach 100%. So yeah, it's nice to see it complete in the end. But no, that's really interesting. I was wondering, why did you choose Uzbekistan? Is because your co-founder was coming from there, or there is also, some kind of strategic advantage to be in that region in the world?
Uh, Look, it's a number of factors. Obviously, Djasur being born and raised in Uzbekistan helped a lot, but I'll come to that a little bit later.
Mhm.
First of all, was the market, the country that was changing, and it really is one of the few places on earth that is at sort of crossroads of digitalization and changing the way people consume, behave, and live in the entire country. Just to give you a couple of examples, like 4 years ago, 50% of all
Mm.
the adult population didn't use a bank account. Uh, this is the level of underserved and under penetrated market in terms of your even banking services. Think about your e-commerce penetration in
Yeah.
2021. It was, I don't know, 1.5%, something like that. The whole e-commerce GMV, the gross volume of the market was, I think, roughly 200 million US. That's it
Wow.
for a 40 million nation. But
That's
when
that's
you
crazy.
bring about the proper product which unites very wide assortment, convenient payment methods, and next day delivery guaranteed across the whole country, you are becoming a household name.
Hmm.
Look, for instance, earlier this year, we stopped tracking our brand awareness because we
Mm.
outpaced even the your well-known soft drink companies and became a household name for shopping online. So it's the country is ready to change. All you need is to bring the proper product. So this is what fascinates me so much about doing business in Uzbekistan. It's the pace of the change and the population, the consumers are ready for it. That's
Hmm.
why I'm always saying, come and do business in Uzbekistan. That's an amazing place to be in.
Yeah, I was recently speaking with some players in the region, like for example with TBC Bank and others, and everyone is actually talking about how the entire, let's say, how the entire country, but the entire region in Central Asia is actually ready for that kind of change and looking for that kind of change and looking for new kind of innovation services, new kind of fintech services. So it's a very good moment in time to actually build and construct in the region. So it's a very, very good point. I wanted to come back, let's say, to the first days of that venture. So when you actually launched the product, how was the first period, starting to see first customer coming in, first revenue coming in, which were the main challenges launching something in that part of the world?
That's a great question. It was a roller coaster of emotions, feelings, and everything really when we are
Mm.
just renting out our first office in a co-working space in Tashkent. That's the capital of
Mm.
Uzbekistan. Then we were renting our second office as we grew up. Then we were moving to another one, and at the same time trying to build several products at once. That's what the idea was to. Since we had so many opportunities, we were trying to pursue them all at once.
Mm.
A very very bold and ambitious move, but we realized that the market is so ripe and ready for disruption that you need to build not only e-commerce or payments or credit cards. You need to start doing it all at once. That was sort of the secret sauce. We managed to assemble a a leaders, a level team of entrepreneurs and launchers who were super capable of launching these businesses. And we basically gave out a lot of autonomy to
Mm.
the business heads, to the CEOs of business units, as if they were building their own businesses. So basically, they had to take e-commerce, for example. They had to hit certain KPIs, and only then we'll add some ecosystem on top of that. So you need to deliver your MVP, realize that the your hypothesis is proven, and only after that you are adding I don't know, cross sell and upsell things to think about, only after the business proved its viability. So it was a very interesting moment, and I still remember that as a just a unique uh,
A
uh,
game-changing moment, basically.
yeah, absolutely.
What about the growth? Because basically, recently we mostly in Europe we see many kind of companies, skyrocketing very very fast. Thanks to a lot of different factors from AI, from advance of digital services and everything else. But at the time when you actually launched it, the growth rate was kind of slower at the beginning. So I was wondering if you saw, an okay spike, very, very early, or if you grow steady over time in terms of users, in terms of revenue, and all of those kind of things.
No, we did really experience the so-called hockey stick growth with the very quick adoption, both in e-commerce and or commerce vertical and fintech, which followed later on. In e-commerce, we became the number one player in the country within 8 weeks after launch.
Eight
Uh,
weeks.
yeah,
Wow.
8 weeks, because
Wow.
we introduced a new model that was non-existent in the country.
Mm.
We realized that um, you can launch and gain trust, especially in the regions outside of capital, only having your physical presence and on the ground. Because when we arrived, there were no warehouses, no pickup points, no 3PL players to partner with. We had to essentially build our own logistics company that's now omnipresent, that's ubiquitous, it's scattered across the whole country. We can deliver next day guaranteed to any city, town, hamlet, village with 10,000 plus. We're
Mm.
everywhere, and this is how you gain trust and retention with the customers all across Uzbekistan. And
Mm.
that's building a marketplace. That's only first part of the equation. The other component is obviously our sellers, the merchants that are actively trading on our platform.
Mhm.
So they were coming in numbers, but later we added other delivery methods, basically, because we started with FBU, which means fulfilled by Uzum.
Mhm.
And everything was going through our fulfillment center and
Mm.
through our distribution network. We've added FBS and DBS, which means fulfilled by seller and delivered by seller, to
Something
increase.
similar to what Amazon does, for
Yes,
example. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. On one hand side, we are not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We are just
Mhm.
basically catering to the needs of the market, of the
Yeah.
population. And this is basically how you win. You need to be super local. You just cannot copy and paste from other market a model that worked there really well. It's a very interesting and quite
Mm.
complicated market because, well, every market is. So this is just e-commerce example. Going
Mm.
back to, for instance, to fintech, um, we issued more than 2.8 million debit cards, which are
Wow.
coming with a pre-approved credit limit, essentially turning it into a credit card in less than 12 months. By
Wow.
by year end, we plan to have 5 million cards. And by 2026, the idea is to have 10 million, which would turn us into the largest commercial bank in the country. The bank that has no branches,
Yes.
The only branch is essentially our pickup points, our pudos, which
Mm.
we are turning into small Uzum offices. Really, it started as a pickup point for our commerce vertical, but now adding ATMs there and other fintech services, they're essentially working as a um, as an offline super app, essentially for the customers, because the managers there are incentivized to upsell, cross sell other services to the customers that are walking in. So that's maybe another sort of secret sauce,
Mhm.
so to say. You still need to be local and physical.
No, that's very, very interesting. So basically, people are also able to withdraw money directly from those apps all around the country. That that's very, very interesting. There's similar concepts in, like, for example, in India, in Pakistan, where you have something that they call human ATM, where you can actually withdraw money directly from smaller shops, for example. Via Cash tried to do something similar in Europe a while ago, and it's very, very interesting. I was wondering while we were talking, what about the regulation part? So you are describing what is actually by any means basically a bank, with all of those kind of services and everything that is coming with. But what about regulators? So you actually got a banking license over time. You actually got credit cards approval and credit limits approval from regulators. How that actually works on your side?
Well, look, we have a number of licenses. We do have a
Mm,
banking license. We have a microfinance organization license, and we are regulated by the basically e-commerce regulator.
mm,
So on one hand side, there is a number of regulating bodies who are observing this quick development, and I'm super supportive of the government actually looking into it, because
mm.
such vast changes happening basically overnight can lead to certain
Wow.
disruptions, and it's the work of the government to sort of balance it out a little bit, so that the customers or its citizens are not just simply overwhelmed by this wave of change.
Mm. No, that's very interesting because that is one of the most complex part, when actually building something like a financial services. And I think that kind of, uh, let's say, support from the government, I think that is very, very helpful, to move on with those kind of services.
Well, look,
Let's.
the government is super supportive here, and they believe that entrepreneurs are sort of the holy cows of the
Mm,
economy. If you think about it, roughly 50% of the GDP is driven by small and medium-sized enterprises.
yeah.
So the government is super supportive of the entrepreneurs, and they love to have IT companies built from Uzbekistan that will be serving potentially some other customers within the region.
Mm.
So yeah, they like what they're seeing.
Nice, nice. And it's always very, very nice to hear those kind of things. What about fundraising? Because I think that is one of the most interesting points when coming to early stage startups. You're not early stage anymore, of course, but you went through that period. And I was wondering, how's the capital market in Central Asia and in Uzbekistan specifically, and how was your experience with fundraising and with VCs over time?
Look, that's a very interesting topic, because this is one of the areas I'm focusing more and more
Mm,
on. And what can I tell? The market is changing, but even like 3 years ago, it
mm,
was very difficult to raise money. Not because of Uzum, because what investors told me is, we understand the playbook.
mm,
The numbers are speaking for themselves. We have never seen, or we've rarely seen, such growth numbers, or a company being profitable, or hitting certain KPIs so quick, so fast, so efficient.
mm,
It's about the region you're coming from. This is going to be our first investment in Central Asia in general, or in Uzbekistan in particular. So it took us a while, but this is again where the ministry is doing an amazing job promoting the country, spending weeks and weeks on the road showing the opportunities in the country and so on. So it took us a while to do our first funding round
Mm,
in March of 2024, which
mm.
actually made us
A
a
unicorn.
unicorn. Yeah,
Mm.
it
How
was a
much did you
very,
raise at the
very
time?
rewarding moment. So yeah,
How much did you raise at the time?
70 million, roughly 70
Wow,
million. In our Series A, uh, we
nice.
we raised 70 million, and in a year later, in 2025, we did a follow-on round led by Tencent, Chinese giant tech
Mm,
giant
yep.
Tencent, and VR Capital. We did another roughly 70 million and increased the valuation to 1.5.
Mm,
And at this point in time, so it's always a combination. There is no just like a silver bullet for
yeah.
this thing, but having a very prominent investor joining the cap table, and as we see, the Uzbekistan becomes a sort of more and more popular among the international investor community. It
Mhm.
significantly improves not only the chances but allows to um, broaden the scope of potential partners going forward. So it definitely helped a lot.
Yeah, I think that when those kind of operations went successful, over time, they help a lot also with visibility, also with trust from other institutional investors, but also from final user perspective. Seeing that the company is doing so well that is actually able to collect money and to raise money, it's also a matter of trust. So that makes a lot of sense. And I was wondering, what about the next steps? You were mentioning about the vision of becoming a super app under that perspective. I think that you already are already going into that direction a little bit. But I was wondering what's next, for Uzum under that perspective. So are you pushing more on the feature side, providing more services, or are you looking to expand globally? That I think that is something that is very, very interesting to explore.
Okay, look, basically you're asking two questions really,
Yeah.
product wise and strategy wise. I'll answer with the latter, where I've seen too many entrepreneurs doing geographical expansion too early, too fast, without properly
Mm.
winning the local market. And this is why we are like laser beam focused on Uzbekistan for two reasons. First of all, we are just scratching the surface here, and the potential is huge. And we want to just demonstrate both to all the potential investors and to our current shareholders what can be done here in
Mm.
our home country. And then, we'll see what happens then. For now, it's Uzbekistan. Um, Products wise, this is again a very interesting one. On one hand side, we are seeing so many opportunities in adjacent sort of markets and
Mm.
verticals that come in very naturally to the businesses we operate in, like commerce, adding additional categories on the marketplace, or in fintech, adding additional services like, for instance, insurance. But here we are trying to again move a little bit in a more of a prudent or cautious approach. We want to make sure we can actually deliver and be number one in the business we are trying to launch, and then move forward. But we have a lot of business ideas here. But the key core focus is e-commerce and fintech.
Mm.
So we will not do, I don't know, taxi or something else. We'll be probably adding something that comes very synergetically and organically to the already existing business.
Hmm. I was wondering, how do you actually structure internally? You've been mentioning a clear division or distinction between the commerce side and the fintech side. They obviously have certain things in common and certain kind of flows in common, and that obvious. But I was wondering if you also have an internal division on those kind of things, on people working only on fintech, on people working only on the commerce side, or how do you actually do those kind of things internally?
Look, we from top down, we do have a board of directors. Then we have a CEO, and CEO observes the. This is what helps me think about it. Is the e-commerce, fintech, and finance.
Hmm.
These are the broad products that we are merging together, and each of those verticals has its own business head or CEO,
Hmm.
for
Okay.
that matter. And but their teams are working very, very closely with each other. They do have their common goals and KPIs. So it's not that we have a clear division between like separate businesses. I'll give you just one example. More than 50, I think almost 60% of all the GMV on our e-commerce is paid by our own payment methods, be it
Hmm.
BNPL or credit or debit card methods. So this is just a synergy effect or ecosystem play, and you just cannot do it if these two businesses are separate. So
Yeah.
it's this is more of a inside out type of presentation where I'm saying we have e-commerce, we have fintech and finance, because this is sort of a complicated business. I need to just give you update within a
Yeah. Of course.
half a minute to have this conversation going.
Mm. And do you actually build the payment method internally, like the payment rails and everything else internally? You have your own payment method basically.
Look, that's another great question, because my maybe takeaway from building businesses in emerging markets
Mm.
is you have to own and operate the infrastructure up to a certain
Mm.
point. So we did it on e-commerce, and yeah, we spent a lot of money on warehouses, pickup points, and trucks and everything. But this allowed us to create a very nice foundation to capitalize further on. The same thing we did in fintech. We own and operate the core banking system, the processing, and obviously all the consumer facing apps. This allowed us to provide new innovative products to the market and compete against the incumbent players there. On the payment side, yeah, it's done internally, but we are partnering with Visa, and it's obviously accepted both within the country and
And
in
outside.
outside world and
Yeah.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. Providing your own payment method is something that always stand out in terms of fintech companies, or at least in terms of e-commerces. I was wondering, let's say, trying to zoom out a little bit from the specific company's experience, talking about the fintech market overall in the region, so in Central Asia and Uzbekistan more specifically. How do you actually see this market? You're in an emerging market at the moment, and there are a lot of different kind of emerging markets out there that are growing right now. So I was wondering, what's your vision on the fintech market overall, and which are the main trends that you are maybe looking at and following in this market right now?
Okay, that's the elephant in the room would be AI, and
Mm.
everyone is trying to implement it because it provides um, a lot of growth potential going forward, both on
Mm.
cost reduction and
Are you
this.
using that right now, or do you have any plan to use it?
Well, we are using it in fintech, and we'll
Hmm.
plan to on the customer support that
Mm.
reduces the a lot of requests and allows us to scale efficiently. We are doing it in that's more on the ML side, not quite
Okay.
AI. but still on credit scoring, and this has allowed us to build unparalleled, basically to cherry pick the customers, even
Mm,
though our APR is quite high, given the current state of the market or the economy in general. Our NPLs, the non-performing share of non-performing loans, and eventual credit losses are under tight control and
mm,
significantly better than the average in the market, which again allows us to have these competitive advantages.
yep.
On the broader picture, yeah, the elephant in the room is AI. Then I do believe that we'll eventually get rid of plastic cards, but
Mm,
because why do you need it? I still think
it's
that
a very good
QR
point.
and a mobile will be your go-to payment methods.
Mm,
But that's not going to happen overnight. This is a very, very long process of 5 to 10 years. Um, and maybe the decentralization is a little bit not the color of the month, but seems like we're going into regionalisation
mm.
globally. So you'll have maybe several regions with certain bridges between them in, I don't know, 5 to 10 years time.
Mm. And so you see, for example, payment infrastructure in the future being more in the direction of QR payments or, for example, wallets than, for example, cards or bank accounts that we have in Western, Western countries. So more in the direction of what you have, for example, in Asia, with many different kind of companies that are producing, for example, QR code payments and similar kind of technologies.
Look, that's why I'm saying regionalization. So
Mm.
certain regions will have certain, basically, tastes and flavors
Mm.
to them. You've rightfully mentioned the Southeast Asia and wallets and bank accounts in, I don't know, Europe and the US, who are still
Mhm.
using checking accounts a lot, for instance, and old habits, they die slow. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely see several regions and combinations between them, and I am thinking about a company that will be uniting either all of the payment methods or be very good at bridging them.
Okay. So something that put together all the kind of different technologies that are present out there.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's a very good point. Um, I had a question, to be honest, about stablecoin and cross-border payments on your side. But as far as I understood, you are very, very focused on Uzbekistan at the moment. So I presume you do very little cross-border right now, or am I wrong?
No, look, we are focused on servicing Uzbekistani customers,
Mm.
and even though there is quite large remittance business, we are not participating in it that much. We are more servicing those accounts within Uzbekistan.
Okay, no, that makes sense. That makes sense also with the strategy overall. So something that I really like to ask to entrepreneurs that went all that kind of ways like you did over time. If you were to come back and to start everything from scratch, what you will be building today in this present moment in time in today's economy, in today's geopolitical market? What were you starting right now? Of course, you cannot say an e-commerce or a fintech company because it's too easy. But uh, taking all of your experience, what would you be starting right now?
We need to agree on the geography, really.
Mm,
Uh, I
that's
have
that's good. That's a
I have
fair point.
several ideas. Well, that's the
Well,
privilege
I'm
or
gonna
the
I'm gonna
nature of
make
the
it
job.
easier. I'm gonna make it easier for you. I'm gonna give you three geographies, and you can answer by geography.
Okay.
So you have one in Europe, one in Asia, and one in the US.
Just the US. Okay. US is a completely different animal. I'm not that familiar with the market.
Okay.
Everyone is doing AI and AI infrastructure or something like that. That's the definitely the flavor, the color of the month there. But in the US, I'll be also trying to do something in biotech, or longevity, or maybe I do believe AI would, a combination of AI and med tech in general would allow to solve very very complex problems
Hmm.
in cancer, in multiple sclerosis,
Hmm.
in other diseases that will just not only help millions of customers or patients for that matter, but also make you a lot of money.
Yep.
That's just something that comes from the back of my mind.
Hmm.
In Europe, I would be I would be disrupting the industries with low level of digitalization in smaller countries.
Hmm.
Uh, Not like, I don't know, Germany or France, but maybe Portugal or Balkans or Eastern Europe in general. I don't know. A number of my friends, both in the VC and in the entrepreneurial world, um, doing something that's below the radar and which turns out very very good and profitable for them. Like, I don't know. What do we call it? Garbage trucks in Portugal,
Hmm.
for
Yep.
instance.
Yeah. Yep.
Digitalization of garbage trucks, their routes, their routing, and optimization of that allowed a friend of mine to build a very very interesting business. So it's
Very
seems like
interesting.
it's everything has been done already, but in reality, it's not. Uh,
Yeah, it's a very good point.
and on the Central Asia or Asia in general, I still believe that this country lack fintech in general. So
Hmm.
I won't be building another bank. I'll be more focused on sort of adjacent niches, like again I've mentioned insurtech, maybe some travel tech, or a something that adds to or can be simply added into the existing business or be complacent to it.
That's very interesting. I always thought that one of the most interesting problem in Asia overall, but also in other countries, in other region in the world, like for example in the MENA region, there's the same problem, is the access to credit.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, having the possibility to provide credit lines, as you said, but also loan mortgages. It's kind of hard there because it's kind of hard in the beginning to verify the income of the person, to take track over time, and of course then you have all the MPL flow and MPL topic over there. So I would say that is something very complex to assess and very complex to solve, and that is a problem that is basically present everywhere, in emerging markets. So,
I
um,
I cannot agree more on that one. But what you need to what I realize is working is alternative sources of data.
mm,
Basically, you need to see some transaction activity to add on top of the sources of data that can be easily accessible, like credit bureau and stuff like that.
yeah,
Basically, to complement your scoring model, and only then you can work with bigger, longer duration type of loans and credit products. So that's why I'm first of all starting. If you are asking what would I do, would I have done differently, I would start with something that generates fees and
mm,
commission based income that would have bigger retention, and that would allow me to generate data to capitalize on.
mm. Oh, that's interesting. The data side is very, very interesting. Um, yeah, because you basically get an edge over time. You get an advantage on trying to understand, transaction user data. That's very, very interesting,
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
honest.
absolutely, absolutely. It's always not the single business model. Like I
Mm,
really like this, I don't know, college example of McDonald's that's not in the business of selling burgers and fries, but it's in real estate,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you see it everywhere after that.
Mm. That's a very good point. Very, very good point. Yeah, I would say. So coming from all of this kind of experience, and let's say trying to build something like that in Uzbekistan, I would like you, maybe as last question, to give an advice to early entrepreneur and early stage startups that are starting right now. So what would you be your advice to new entrepreneurs that are starting, that are launching something, not just in this space but overall? So what they should focus on at the moment?
Look, it's always a combination of this is how I think about it. It's a demand and supply, but not in the typical example. Demand is the market you operate in, and supply is what can you do.
Right.
So basically, on the demand side, I would say come and do business in Uzbekistan. That's an amazing place where you can do a lot. On the supply side, just figure out the edge, or be it a team, technology, or something else you basically can utilize to do your first couple of steps, and you'll definitely figure it out. You'll figure it out along the way. That's it.
Nice. That's actually a very, very good point and pragmatic point, I would say. Nikolay, it was a pleasure to speak with you. It was a very, very interesting conversation. Thank you again for being with us today. And yeah, good luck for all your next steps with Uzum in the upcoming future.
Thank you very much, Michelle. It's been a pleasure to be with you. And look, please also come to Uzbekistan. We'll be
Yep.
happy to host you there.
Yeah, this is the second time that someone invite me there, so I absolutely need to plan a trip.
Two times the charm. Okay.
Yeah. Thank
Right.
you again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.